YouTube, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Civic Collector. Today I'm going to be lifting the engine on the 10th gen. Going to be raising it 30 millimeters to add for more clearance from the ground, seeing as it is slammed, as you all know. First and foremost, do not try this at home if you do not know what you're doing. This is not a how-to video. This is just how I do it. If you choose to do it the way I do it, you assume the risks. I am not responsible for anything. Good, now that that's out of the way. The 10th gen engine lift is so simple. A lot of people are messaging me asking how to do it, and I appreciate it, and I love making content. However, I would encourage you guys to go out to your car, take it apart, look at it, tinker around. If you are a car guy, then you need to know your way around the car. You shouldn't have to always rely on a how-to video to simply know how to take an engine lift out. It is car guy common knowledge, but I'll hold your hand if you need me to, so come on. General rule of thumb when always working on a car, disconnect the battery. And not only are we going to disconnect it, we're going to just go ahead and remove it. And the whole battery tray will be removed as well. Remove battery tie down. So with the engine raise, you have to kind of tweak some of the bolts of the battery tray. Just take the whole tray out. All right, we got the battery out of the way. Expose the bracket for the battery tray. And if you look closely, you can see there are two missing bolts in the tray to the right and left. They don't really line up, and I wasn't really trying to force it, so the battery tray itself is stable enough that it's fine, but just be aware. The biggest thing you want to watch for is the battery itself being pushed back and hitting the firewall and shorting out. So make sure that battery tie down is secured pretty tight. So right now we're just going to remove these bolts. Those are 10 millimeter, and I believe this one right here is 12. Let's find out. Yep, 12 millimeter. Now you can pull the tray out. You're gonna want to remove the air box. This is a 5.5 millimeter for the air box tube. Disconnect your sensor. If it probably needs to be replaced. You're gonna want to take the whole air box out. Now we're almost there. All we gotta remove is this PCM or this computer module, whatever the hell it is. 10mm bolt, 10mm bolt. You can leave that one hooked in there and just slide it out. It's slotted on that one. Just take out that top one because it's easily exposed. So now we got this bolt exposed and that bolt exposed for the transmission side of the engine lift. So now that that's exposed and we can get to the engine mount itself, you'll need a jack and a little wood block, because you never want to jack up an engine or transmission without a piece of wood under it. Give it a little bit of pressure, a couple pumps, take the load off of there. My bolt on the current engine raise is a 22mm. So So this is the kit I threw together. It's a 30mm hard aluminum spacer with 2 bolts. Hit me up if you'd like one for this chassis. But right now I just got steel spacers in there. Gotta loosen the back bolt. But let's get it. Shout out to homie Zach with Double Digit Demons, Chris at ASM, and the line at Street Sweepers. Those the boys. They definitely kind of been some influence and inspiration on just going for it and starting my own brand out distance. So shout out to homies, you know, it's all love. Anyway. So I'm gonna make it a little easier, clear up a little bit more room to access that bolt. Take out this 10mm bolt. And then finagle that out of the way. And then also, you're gonna wanna take these bolts off because it's gonna disconnect the mount from the trans, so it'll be easier to manipulate. Those are 17mm. These nuts and bolts onto the trans are 17. Need a deep. There's a ground wire. Alright, don't forget the grounds. Now it should come out.
And then you really don't need to take it all the way out. Just lift it up. enough to slip those bolts. I mean, the spacer does.
So on the right, we have the engine raise I have in there currently, which is 1 inch with individual steel spacers. And then on the left, the new and improved 30 millimeters, basically 1.2 inches with the yellow zinc grade 10 bolts. So definitely quality stuff. I stand by it, and if my calculations are correct, this should be perfect fit. So let's find out. All right, so take your spacer. Just gotta maneuver it under the mount itself. Pretty simple. All right, we got that rear one in. More easily put it in there. And don't have to be perfectly lined up right now. You can do that with the bolts. Got our bolts.
The new bolts are 17s, I believe, for the kit. Yep, the bolts are 17s.
As I've said before, you do lose this third transmission mount, but mounting bolt, it may cause a little bit more vibration, but that's just the name of the game. What you gotta do for that low life, so just be aware. I'm gonna get these nuts and bolts back in, and then this side's done. Just gotta reverse, put everything back. And then we gotta come over here. This one's a lot more easy. Just take off these bolts after you move your jack to this side, jack it up, loosen these, loosen those 2 bolts, and then bada bing, bada boom. Now we come over to the engine side, passenger side. Move the jack on over underneath the engine, jack it up, relieve the load to loosen these bolts. And then you got your engine mounting bolts there and there. If you want to be even more proper, get a little spacer for your coolant reservoir right there. You can bolt that in. I just let it flop, I don't really care. So now we got the load taken off this side. Take your 19 mil, take those bolts and that nut off.
Possible threat for tornadoes out where I'm at right now, so if you hear the wind in the background, don't be alarmed.
And I believe these bolts are 19 for the mounts. Like I said, right now I got grade 8 bolts in here. And then the kit I put together is all grade 10, yellow zinc plated, so a little bit even more trust and security with grade 10 than over an 8. So I have no doubts with this kit. No doubts. I've been running mine with just kind of thrown together engine lift. You'll see on this side what I got for the inch. You saw the steel spacers on this transmission side. And then for the kit, obviously got nice spacers. So everyone's asking, does it work? Is it safe? That's for you to determine, but it does work. It does work. My personal opinion is definitely safe. These are bushings for like top hats and coilovers. Just happens to be an inch. They're aluminum. These are what I was using on the engine side to lift the engine. So I would say that these nice CNC aluminum whole pieces are perfect with nice grade 10 bolts. So, like I said, I've driven, I don't even know how many thousands of miles, 5 or 6 on my kit, and no issues. So, take that as you will, assume the risk. I mean, with all cars and all car modifications, there's a risk you have to assume as the, person doing it. So, if you don't trust yourself, I guess, get someone to do it. You might have a hard time finding a shop that will do it. That's the problem. But, I mean, honestly, I think it'll be pretty easy, especially with the step-by-step process. So once again, to clear up some space to take the mount all the way out, because that's the easiest, I believe, just remove this AC line bracket so you can get to that 15 millimeter bolt there. So we can take this, kind of flip it out of the way, lift this all the way up, place the spacers in, drop the mount on. Boom. All right, so I got this 15 millimeter bolt out, that 15 millimeter bolt out. Just gonna remove this bracket. Those 2 bolts on the side. Now you should be able to kind of take that, flip it, just lift it straight up. Straight up and out. You see the 2 bolt holes down there. Put the spacers on top. Alright, got 1 spacer and 2 spacer. Once again, you just want them pretty much over the hole if you can help it, but it isn't a huge deal. So sneak this in. Oh. Get it lined up. Watch this ground wire. Keep hitting the camera, sorry. Okay, this coolant. Get the coolant hose behind the mount. Watch the ground wire. And boom. Bolts. Drop them in place.
Number 17, 919.
Got your spacer, got your bolt. Same thing. Ground wire. Get your 2 bolts and nut back on. Get your bracket. Your bracket back on over there. Just get everything back together. And you got a 1.2 inch engine lift. Last notable thing on the engine lift is passenger side axle hits on the frame with the engine lift, so you have to get in there with a grinder and just notch it. I notch the frame right there so the axle clears the frame and doesn't grind. That's the only fitment issue you have to do with the engine race. So hope that helps on y'all that want to raise the engine on your 10th gen Civic. I'm pretty sure it works for 1.5 turbos and 2.0s. Obviously it definitely works for 2.0s, so if it has the same kind of engine mount, I'm gonna go ahead and say it works. I've been asked about SIs and Type Rs. You can tell what engine mount is in there. If it has the same setup, then I'm gonna go ahead and say it does. So hit me up if you want them. $100 ship. you know, cheaper than other places because I'm not gonna tax, but you know, I'm gonna just try to get it out there. So let me know. Thanks for tuning in, and update on the EK. Timing components have been ordered from the dealer, and they're just in the USPS Abyss right now since the 27th of February. So we're kind of stalled on that, but you know, life is such. So what can you do? Hopefully it'll show up, or they're gonna be giving me some more, and I'll just go down to Florence, Alabama, and pick it up instead of mailing it, which I hate because of Memphis. So yeah, that's where we're at. Gonna get the carpet back in it, dark green. Just gonna leave it. I don't care. Get the carpet back in. Get some of the interior back in. I gotta get the shifter out. I'll do that today. But thanks for tuning in.